All right. Apologies for the slight delay, but I'd like to call this meeting to order and thank council and representatives from the Charleston Downtown Alliance for coming today. Is Jane Jenkins available? There she is. So look forward to having some of your remarks regarding the bid.
Ready? Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Jane Jenkins, and I am the Interim Executive Director of the Charleston Downtown Alliance. I've been in this position. I'm in my 14th month. I work part-time. I started in March of 2023 to kind of get things kicked off with this new business improvement district. But I'm happy to announce that we do have a full-time director that's coming on board. Amy, if you come introduce yourself real quick. She will start in June and we will work together. But I wanted her to meet the council. So.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name's Amy Barrett. I see some familiar faces around the room. And that's because a long time ago, I worked for the city of Charleston in the planning department with Meg Thompson. I worked under Tim Keene and then Jacob Lindsay. And then I went on to work for an organization called the Urban Land Institute, which I know a lot of you guys from that work as well. So I've been in and around the urban planning and real estate development space for quite a while. My most recent gig was in Myrtle Beach, working on their downtown bid as well, which was a whole different world. But that's suffice to say, I bring a lot of enthusiasm and experience working in bids and with a lot of the players here in the Charleston area. And I'm really excited to get back. I won't be starting until mid-June, but Jane has been nice enough to keep me involved and keep me in the loop so I can hit the ground running when that time comes. So thanks for letting me say a couple words, and I look forward to working with y'all real soon.
Thank you, Amy. In addition, we have Doug Warner from the CVB Explore Charleston, who's one of our board members, who's also here to participate if we need him. Like I said, I started in March of 23. I am from Mount Pleasant many years ago, but I live in Oklahoma now, and so I've been going back and forth between Charleston and Mount Pleasant. My family all still lives here. My parents live on Daniel Island, and my sister lives on Johns Island, and all of her family. So it's been a wonderful opportunity after a 40-year career in downtown management and being able to retire and come back and help my home city. I shopped on King Street before there was a Charleston place. So actually before there was a Joe Riley. So that tells you how long ago it's been. I thought I'd start out by talking a little bit about what is a business improvement district, because I know we have some new council members and you might not have been here during the period of time when the bid was created. Property owners in a defined geographic area of contiguous properties petition the city council to create an assessment district to provide enhanced services to that geographical area. These services must be in addition to the baseline of the city services for the area, and they're all outlined in the petition process so that when property owners support or don't support the petition, they know exactly what services are going to happen as a result of this. If 51% or more of the represented area supports the petition and the council creates the district, the assessment is then mandatory for everyone in that district, whether they supported it or whether they didn't. This has been a tool in use pretty much widely since the late, probably early 90s in downtown management as a way to make everybody pay. If you're paying and your neighbor isn't and they're cleaning the street, it's just you're getting the benefit too. And it's used all over the country. Nationwide, several formulas are used to determine what the assessment will be. Assessed value, square footage, and frontage, or any combination of the above, are just a few of the preferred methods. In Charleston, the assessment that the property owners pay is based on the assessed value of the property and generates, at least in this past year, about $750,000. In partnership with the city staff, most bids are managed by outside nonprofit organizations through a contract or an MOU. And in Charleston, the organization that the city works with is the Charleston Downtown Alliance, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit. The Alliance is currently structured to have one employee, now me, soon Amy. And then we contract out for all the various services that have been provided by the board. This structure could change over time as the needs and priorities are identified by both the board and the city council. And our biggest contract is with Block by Block, which is a national company that provides clean, safe, and hospitality services using uniformed ambassadors. You can see, if you are looking at a copy or of the report, you can see a picture of our ambassadors on page 3 of the annual report. Our local Block by Block crew currently has 5 FTEs, 1 operations manager, and 4 ambassadors. In the next few months, the program plans to expand and add 2.5 additional employees so that we can provide weekend evening services on Upper King. We are working closely with the police department and Lieutenant Taylor to determine the scope of services for those evening ambassadors, relying on examples from other cities with entertainment districts. Block by Block outlined a sample scope of those types of services that you can find on page 26 of the annual report if you want to look. We also have a contract with Urban 3, which is a firm out of Asheville. It's very highly regarded and respected in the industry for assessing economic value. We are currently looking at the value of King Street to the city, the region, and the state. And thanks to the hard work of Meg and other folks on the city staff, we do know what our sales tax impact was for 2023. It was valued at approximately $1.1 billion. That is the impact of the sales on King Street from Broad to Line. You can see those on page 7 of the report. We also have contracts with Inskip Creative for holiday decor and activation. They did some things for us in 2003, and we intend to go back to them in 2004 and add to that, and work with a larger group of downtown businesses on enhancing the holidays on King Street. We also worked with Stitch Design on website development. The website is still under construction, but if you want to find out a little bit more about those projects, they're on page 5 to 6 of the report. Working with the College of Charleston, we conducted a satisfaction survey targeting property and business owners. We received a 55% response rate, which is pretty good in the world of surveys. This year, we plan to conduct the survey a little bit earlier in the year and expand our targets to include both citizens and residents, both of downtown and Charleston at large, as part of our base. Just to highlight a couple of things from this year's survey, 54% of the respondents thought the King Street Ambassador Program had moderate to high impact. 67% think that King Street is cleaner since the ambassador started. 76% feel safe or moderately safe on King Street. The respondents did identify trash as the biggest problem that detracts from the appearance on King Street. And I think that this is a significant statistic that 70% either somewhat or strongly agreed with the statement. The bid's primary operational functions of sidewalk cleaning, graffiti removal, and visitor hospitality are having a positive impact on improving the conditions on King Street. We are looking forward to the remainder of 2004 and into 2005. We plan to develop a 5-year strategic and implementation plan, launch the website, develop a comprehensive social media communication strategy, build a robust database, enhance holiday activation and decor, support organized activation on King Street, and continue to provide and expand our ambassador services. I am available for any questions you might have. Yes, sir.
Oh, great report. Can you expand on what organized activation on King Street is? Can you expand on that?
I looked to those. The 2 things that I remember from last year were the Wine and Food Festival celebration that was on Upper King, and then was there a Christmas or a holiday open house? We want to be able to do more to help the city, produce those events and enhance those events as those are done through Meg's department. We want to be able to contribute more make
Okay.
those bigger.
And as your ambassadors go around and on King Street, I'm a layperson, but we got some legal minds, I'm told, around this table. If
You
you
might.
see any toe catchers with the sidewalk and slate being out of kilter that people may trip over,
Oh.
how do we report that so the city can address it, or how's that handled?
We do. So far, we have not had the city address any of it, but we do try to let them know, particularly if we see a particularly egregious,
Toe catchers.
case of where first time, but when I was first here last March, I tripped, 3 times, the first 3 times I was on King Street. And I was wearing tennis shoes. So, you have to learn to look at your feet. And we all know what the physical limitations are with our downtown. We have narrow sidewalks, we have narrow streets, we have big bellies and palmetto trees and signage on our sidewalks. And often we have scaffolding because we have a building that is under renovation or construction. So we have some physical limitations, particularly below Calhoun Street, that really are difficult.
Right, but what I'm getting at is those, with the additional eyes and ears, those offsets, let's call them, we come out and actually shave them down to like a 45-degree angle, so it won't be as bad. So if
I'm
you're
gonna ask,
identifying
I'm gonna
something-
ask Meg to address that on the city side. We catalog them and report them, but Meg Thompson here is our contact and our liaison with the city staff.
Sure. So my understanding is, we on? Okay, sorry, short. My understanding is that those are being reported to the Public Service Department. Unfortunately, there's always a limited budget for bluestone repairs. So I'll defer to Tom and Matt Altop about how much of that they're able to do. But my understanding is that they have been reported.
Yes, sir.
Meg, quick question. Do we increase our liability, however, if we're aware of it and someone trips? If we have an inventory,
I believe one of the legal minds wants to answer that.
don't trip.
Councilmember, we can certainly discuss that offline.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Just really briefly, Mr. Mayor, thank you. And Jane, thank you. As you all remember, when we went through this process of establishing the bid, creating the bid, there was a lot of work done on the front end. It's really been amazing to watch it grow from its infancy. It is in a place now, I can tell you, the proof to me of how well the bid is doing is both in the report that you got tonight, but maybe more importantly, with the businesses that are there that are paying into this fund. I mean, they have voluntarily paid 4% on top of their property taxes to have the Business Improvement District operate. And to a man, woman, store owner, bartender, business owner, I'm on that street a lot, and they all are complimentary of it. I've yet to hear a single direct complaint about the fact that the bid exists. And y'all might remember around this table, we were somewhat concerned about the increased taxation on the businesses and whether they would think they were getting value. I can tell you at this point, I believe that they believe they're getting value. And if you go walk the street and have a critical eye on it, particularly that 300 block, it's vastly improved. So more to go, but off to a really great start. So thank you, team, for all the work, all the hard work you've done. It's been an honor to represent this council on the board. The board is very active, by the way, and has taken a particular interest in everything that's going on, and the ambassadors have really done a good job. And if you're on King Street, can y'all please do us a favor? You see an ambassador, just say hey, let them know who you are. They'd love to say hey to you back, and anything you got with them, just let them know they're doing it.
they wear big orange hats.
Yep,
You
can't miss
can't.
So thank you.
Councilman Pelt.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Great job, great presentation. I think this is a wonderful example of a successful public-private partnership, and if not the most important street in the city, the state. I mean, just to be frank about it. Which leads me to my question. I'm looking at the 2024 budget, and it depicts $200,000 from us in addition to the assessment structure that we've set up. And I see TBD next to Charleston County grants, contributions, sponsorships. There's an enormous amount of sales tax revenue that's generated on King Street. If we're not number one, Tanger Outlet's number one. I mean, it's one or two between us and the state based on information that I've received. And I would like to say that the city of Charleston receives the majority of the sales tax revenue, but we receive essentially nothing from it. So the state of South Carolina, Charleston County, they are the big recipient. They are the significant beneficiaries of a successful, thriving, economically vibrant King Street. And I just wanted to know a little bit more about, now that we've got such great momentum going based on everything we've heard today, what efforts are underway to get some more contribution from some of the other governmental entities?
In 2003, we do have $200,000 from Charleston County that I believe came through the Economic Development Office, and we will be pursuing that again. And we will probably be back to talk to you in June when we present our budget about another $200,000 to support the ambassadors. The evening ambassador services that we're getting ready to launch is what is that $200,000 is going to support throughout this this summer. We are meeting tomorrow with Lieutenant Taylor, Mike Cumby, who is the operations manager, and I are going to meet with Lieutenant Taylor. There's a scope of services on page 26 that block by block provided, that's been provided to Lieutenant Taylor, and we've had 2 meetings about it already, but we're going to try to get it nailed down a little bit so Mike can start his hiring and we can start putting these people on the street. So, so I anticipate that for the 2004 budget, that won't change.
To that, to expand on that, just, I'm reading this correctly in that, is it last year that the King Street businesses had an aggregate total of over $1 billion?
2023, January to December, calendar year 2023, they generated in sales tax approximately $1.1 billion.
Well, in terms of taxable revenue,
Taxable revenues.
right, not actual tax revenue.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Thank you. And what we're doing now is taking numbers like that along with property values and other things and how the tax, going back to exactly what you said. So what is that value to Charleston? What is that value to the region? What is that value to the Lowcountry? And then what is that value to the state? Since, as you said, what the state gets the lion's share of the sales taxes. I know there's several different formulas of going back and forth. And so we're relying on our consultant to help with that. And they're also working with city staff, which has been very helpful in getting them the information that they need, including at Charleston County, so that they can come back and let us know what that economic impact is on those 3 areas.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, Jane, for that
Thank you, Mayor.
thorough presentation, and appreciate all the work that you have done to date. And welcome, Amy. Really excited that you're going to be coming on board, and look forward to working very closely.
I'm going to let Amy make the budget request in June.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions regarding the annual report? Okay. I got on here to submit input into the development of the annual work plan,
Is that something they need to do this work?
an actionable item.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask staff to come up and explain.
Sure. The next item is, in September, CDA will be back, to present their annual, well, part of it, is to present an annual work plan as part of a bigger, presentation. And, so now, is the only, opportunity that you will have to give input to CDA on what you would like to be included for strategic initiatives and activities. And so, this
Well, I just
will be
wanted-
an opportunity for you to submit that input.
That would be great. I also want to say that in June, when we present our budget request, you'll probably get the outline of what our plan is for 25, because we generally do our planning with our budgeting, do those simultaneously.
Well,
But then in
so-
September.
So for clarity, do we have another opportunity before October in June, or is now, today, the last opportunity?
I have an email address.
You can always create another opportunity. We didn't want to schedule any more meetings than necessary, so we wanted to combine the two into this meeting.
And just so you know, again, I wanted you, in June, we'll come back with a budget request, and our budget will be part of what our plan is for 2025. How we spend our money is part of our planning process. But then in September, we're going to come back with a more detailed implementation plan that you will see then. So there's two different steps to that. I want to make sure everyone understands it, so. And the input is, and making this presentation and asking for council input is all part of the MOU, the contract that we have with the city. And like you said, we're happy to come back and hear what you have to say too.
Well, sounds like, Councilman Seekins, do you have something?
Well, just really briefly, I mean, as Jane said, she's got an email. This council is represented on that board. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, we have a long time between here and there, the transition from Jane to Amy. So there's a lot going to be happening, and happy to, include a report at any time.
Sounds good. Amy, did you have something? to add?
Assessments have to be to the county by August, so we would have first reading in June, second reading in July meeting. So that's how it will have to work.
Okay, thanks for that clarity. Any other questions, comments from council members? Yes, Councilman Parker?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What is the total number of businesses affected by the bid? Do you know off the top of your head?
There, 500? Okay, 580 something. I was going to say close to 600 parcels.
Okay.
So
And do you know, so I see 161 individuals successfully received the email. Is there any way that coming back in June that some of these, that we can touch more of those businesses, the folks that are affected by this, that are paying into the bid?
yeah, that's what I said, that we will increase our target area. And we're also, one of the things that we're targeting for 2025, and we'll get started on it, is to build a more robust database of downtown, so that we have a way other than just touching to get in touch with those individuals. We used an email for the property owners that was used when they created the bid. Doug provided that to us. And then we made flyers with a QR code that the ambassadors distributed to the business owners when they could find them. And that's another challenge too, because when our ambassadors make face-to-face visits, often the owner isn't there and you have to depend on. So we really want to build that database so we have a direct way to contact those businesses. So that's on our to-do list. Yeah.
Follow-up question. All right, thank you for that. And do you think, I mean, do you think, Councilmember Seekings, do you think it would be appropriate to hear from some of those tenants? I mean, not just the private owners, but some of the folks that are on the, in those
So,
businesses every day?
I mean, that's a little bit complicated in that, the people who pay into the bid are the property owners, right? The tax bill goes to the owner of the building, they pay it in. I'm sure much of the bid cost to the owners, the property owners, is passed through to the businesses. And it is the businesses who in the first instance see the benefits of the bid, but clearly the property owners do too. A healthier, more vibrant King Street is good for everybody, businesses, property owner alike. I think bringing them in is fine. I can just tell you, just anecdotally, I live right around the corner from King Street. I'm there a lot and interact with the businesses generally. I haven't heard anything that makes me concerned, if there's some concern on your part or anybody's part, that it's quite the opposite. They're favorable in this. And we'll listen through this. One of the things that we talked about through our board meetings, and I think we should do, is have a general membership meeting of the bid. And then we'll participate in that and report out to the mayor and council and see where we are with that. I think that's probably the best and most efficient way to do this.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, there was no genuine concern. I just think it would be, I mean, all this data is wonderful. It's just light on the tenant numbers and the folks that are there seeing it day to day.
And remembering this is a startup operation,
Yeah.
right? So I think those things will fill in as we go through the months, the years, the decades. It'll all sort of fill in and become a lot more organic and natural.
And Councilman Parker, to that end, too, we've been having a lot of interaction with the business owners on King Street, with the police department in terms of some of the initiatives we're undertaking up there too. They too, I can echo what Councilman Seeking's saying, that the response has been overwhelmingly positive from business owners, tenants along King. So I know it's anecdotal. I think your point is well made that we need to get into the science of this. So Councilman Seeking's point, we're in the beginning process, but very good insight and advice. We also have Councilman Brady online, has his hand up. Councilman Brady?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just think to Councilmember Parker's point, since a lot of the land holdings and whatnot are owned by LLCs, I mean, we could always, those land records are publicly available, so we could always reach out to the registered agent, whether it's an attorney or someone that has a vested interest in the property that's listed as the registered agent. We don't have to necessarily just stop by. We could do a mailed letter with a survey or anything like that. So just wanted to make that observation.
Good point. Any other questions, comments for the good of the cause? Well, thank you again, Jane, for the presentation. Look forward to working with you and working with Amy. If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.